What's going on, guys? Cockmind here, and welcome back to another Game of Thrones Season 7 video. This time I'll be taking some of your questions and comments on my breakdown trailer and discussing them. Granted, I'm a little late on this, my apologies, but I've made sure to double the length of the video this time around in order to cover both trailers. Those of you who are fans of the Game of Thrones podcast will be releasing After Show Episode 3 next week, so look forward to that. Also, before we begin, some people were concerned with my choice of wording in the breakdown trailers. During those videos, I would often say that there were rumors that certain things happened to a few characters, and some of you thought I was using the word rumors as a mean to spoil certain things in the new season. I promise you that is not the case. Every season there are rumors as to what is going to happen, and a lot of the times they're false, like the Season 6 rumor that Stannis was somehow alive, and that Shae would be appearing in front of Tyrion through a vision of some kind. Obviously those are not true, but it's still worth mentioning because this is what the community is saying, and as a YouTuber who covers this series, I'd be bad at my job if I didn't keep you guys up to date with all the latest things going on. So don't worry, you're safe, and if my videos do contain a spoiler, you'll be given a warning beforehand. Don't worry. Now with all that out of the way, let's get to it. Okay, so first question is from Patreon, and Jake says, apparently Maisie Williams accidentally spoiled that Sansa will die in this season, which really frustrates me because she is one of my favorite characters in the books. If she does die this season, do you think she will meet the same fate in the books, or is this just a show continuing to make outrageous changes? So what Jake is referring to here is something that happened a while ago at South by Southwest when Maisie Williams, Sophie Turner, and the showrunners took the stage to address certain things. Someone asked Sophie Turner why she switched from being a redhead to full-on blonde, and Maisie said because she's dead. Many people immediately thought that Maisie was being serious and that she spoiled Sansa's death. I promise you that is not the case because Maisie likes to troll all of us. The main reason Sophie Turner has blonde hair is because she would just rather wear a wig to play Sansa instead of keeping it red. Not only that, but I highly doubt Maisie Williams, who has been keeping secrets from the set for the past 6 years, would let it slip out just like that. I honestly do believe she was just trying to make a joke that got out of hand. Actresses on set have been wearing wigs for a while now, so I wouldn't think too much of it. Plus, out of all the characters who could die in Season 7, betting on Sansa to live through to Season 8 is the safest bet possible. She isn't in any position to go down, and something tells me about the end of all of this, she'll be the one in charge of the North. If she does die, however, then that would really catch me off guard, holy shit. People like to say that Game of Thrones hasn't been Game of Thrones ever since the Red Wedding. I don't agree with this, but if she does go down, then those people can be satisfied, I guess? Also, Jake, I'll make a bet with you right here. If Sansa does die, I owe you $10. If she lives, then we can both go to bed a little happy. Sound good? Let me know. Next question is from David, and he says, why can't Rickon just be brought back immediately by Melisandre after he's shot? Jon could have just grabbed his body, bring him instantly to her, and in 2 hours they could be showing a middle finger in Ramsay's face. I think the best explanation for this would be that Melisandre has no control over who she revives. Her power comes directly from the Lord of Light, and if he wants someone to come back, then he'll make sure his followers will see it done and give them the power to do so. I think she best explains it in Season 6, Episode 9, when Jon tells her that if he does die, to not bring him back, and she tells him, I'm not your servant, Jon Snow. I serve the Lord of Light. I do what he commands. If the Lord didn't want me to bring you back, then how did I bring you back? I have no power, only what he gives me, and he gave me you. So why didn't she resurrect Rickon? Because the Lord of Light doesn't require Rickon to be alive. The Lord of Light requires Jon Snow and Beric Dondarrion for some reason. This is the first explanation. The second would likely be that Jon doesn't want to put too much trust in Melisandre or her magic. Sure, it brought him back, but at a cost. The other reason would be plot. The plot doesn't require him. It does bug me too that it's left wide open. I mean, I would have liked a small conversation about how it takes a lot of energy out of her, and that she can only resurrect someone once a month or something like that, and that the person can be dead for like 48 hours before their soul slips away forever. Something like that, you know? I hate it when they leave it open without too much detail, but there it is. Next question is from James, and he says, how many White Walkers are there? The Army of the Dead consists of a lot of Whites, but you don't need Valyrian Steel or Dragonglass to kill/destroy the Whites. I've only counted a couple of White Walkers at a time, so you don't need that much Valyrian Steel. I mean, if there are only like 13 or 20, why be afraid of the Army of Dead at all? If you kill the Night's King and a couple of White Walkers, problem solved. I believe Craster said that he had over 99 sons, so it's likely that there will be 99 White Walkers. However, I will say this, there may be hundreds of White Walkers and thousands of Whites, but from my understanding, I'm thinking there are like 5 to 10 of them who are like really in command of the army, of the dead. We've seen two types of White Walkers, ones with armor and ones without armor. The ones with armor are usually in the back or in some cases in the front line leading an attack. Then you have the random White Walkers without armor, the ones we saw during Season 2 finale and then again when Sam kills one of them in Season 3. It's possible the armored ones are frontline commanders or generals and the ones without are normal foot soldiers. Though the actual reason for them not wearing armor is explained, the showrunners said that they started wearing armor after Sam killed them, but I like my explanation much better. Personally, I do believe there are levels of them, like General, Commander, and Normal Soldier, but that's just me. As for why you should be afraid, because the necromancy can be an overpowered move. For example, you're fighting with your friend against them, and next thing you know your friend dies, is brought back, and is fighting you. It can really damage morale and can also break you down mentally, but it does seem that the magic is controlled by the Night's King, so it's possible that taking him down could be the key. We've seen that he turns Craster's children into walkers, and then he can bring back dead bodies, so it's possible that it's all tied back to him, so if you take him down, you'll likely end the war very quickly. But killing him won't be easy, because it does seem that he has bodyguards. See Season 5, Episode 8 for this example. Next question is from Patreon, and they say, Carmine, what do you need to happen or see in Season 7 for you to be satisfied? Look, I'm a simple man. I see Littlefinger on the throne, I'm happy. No, but seriously, the one thing that would make me happy is if each episode went into an hour and 30 minutes of runtime. They're giving us only 7 episodes? Fine. I want them to be each 1 hour and 30 minutes at least of straight content. And when I say content, I don't mean the intro, I don't mean the outro, I don't mean the behind the scenes crap. No. I want straight content. No bullshit. Less Sam and Gilly, less Grey Worm and Missandei, and more of dungeons and dragons and sword fighting and the occasional naked woman for no reason. I'm sorry, but Game of Thrones isn't Game of Thrones unless we have a random scene that was written by a 14-year-old boy. No, seriously though, I want longer runtime. That will make me satisfied. More content is all I ask for, please. Next question is from KC, and they say, do you think the show is going to let Euron Greyjoy shine and be the actual threat that he is? I highly doubt that. For those of you who are unaware, in the books, Euron is a much bigger threat to Dany, her dragons, and the second biggest threat to Westeros right behind the White Walkers. The only way the show could have implemented a storyline is if they started it back in Season 5, when there was still time to introduce new characters and stick with their storylines. Season 5 was the perfect moment to set up events from Feast for Crows, but maybe the showrunners weren't confident that storylines from that book could have successfully been done in a television show. And I understand that, some things in the novel can't be put in the show, but they somehow had time to put in a love story for two characters who don't need it, extra time for Sam and Gilly to establish that they like each other, which, by the way, they do, in case you didn't know for the 100th time, and all those awkward moments of Arya sweeping and characters doing boring things. In the Game of Thrones podcast, Preston said it best. Feast for Crows is about characters you care about doing nothing, and characters you don't care about doing something interesting. Maybe they weren't sure having so many new characters doing cool things was a good idea? Either way, it's a missed opportunity nonetheless. All Euron will do this season is serve as a foil for Dany's Greyjoy allies, who make up a good chunk of her naval power, and to kill off secondary characters. Euron is basically the AT-ATs in Empire Strikes Back. Just there as a thing to split up the main characters. That's it. Which is unfortunate, but there it is. Next question is from Mike on Facebook, and he says, now that we've seen so many flashbacks in the last season, are any more really necessary to flesh out the story, especially so late in the game? See, this is a difficult question for me to answer. I mean, flashbacks are a nice way to give us a good feel of a character's motivation and personality, as we saw with Cersei in Season 5. They also serve to show us some cool origins, like with Hodor and Jon Snow. Do we really need any more? As a critic, no we don't. The show has given us enough last season, and any more would be considered a bit of fan service, which is okay, as long as it's done correctly. We should focus as much time as we have left on current events and wrap them up nicely. But, as a fan, I'd like more, yeah. I'd love some flashbacks on young Ned and young Robert, and maybe see Jon Arryn. Number 1 on my list would be to see Robert's Rebellion or even Rhaegar and Lyanna together. If we had more episodes for Season 7, then I really wouldn't mind. Hell, if I was in charge, I would devote one entire episode in Season 7 to the tournament at Harrenhal, where Rhaegar gave Lyanna that flower crown and started the whole thing. That's just me, though. Next question is from Patreon, and Johan says, "You said Thorne's trip is addressed in the books, but not in the show. What does happen in the books, and why isn't this given enough attention in the show?" Fair warning to people who haven't read the books, please skip to the time ahead on screen, but I promise you these spoilers are so minor, it's not even worth mentioning. But once again, if you're someone who likes to be kept in the dark, then skip ahead. But basically, in the books, Thorne comes down to King's Landing, and when he does, Tyrion is there as Hand of the King, and because Thorne rubbed Tyrion the wrong way when they were at Castle Black, Tyrion makes him wait a very long time before they even let Thorne come to present the severed white hand. By that time, it's already decayed and gross, and everybody just laughs at him. It's never addressed when Thorne comes back in Season 4, but hopefully, Tyrion will address this in Season 7. Lord Commander Jeor Mormont told Jon that he had sent Thorne away to keep them apart, so Jon knows about Thorne's mission. I can definitely see a scene in which Jon mentions the warnings they sent to King's Landing, and Tyrion tells everybody his dick move in making Thorne wait and destroying the evidence. So yeah. Also, I will say that I like Tyrion's dick move here, mainly because it's basically George R.R. Martin telling us that all these people with their pride and political games are overshadowing the looming threat of a much greater disaster. It's very Game of Thrones-ish, in my opinion. Next question from a McClinton, and they ask, "Would Dany be willing to allow the North to remain independent, or will she insist on war? With everything we've seen from her so far, it would be inconsistent of her to allow one of the Seven Kingdoms to just leave." I'm going to go ahead and agree with you there, and I'll tell you why. We're all forgetting one big important thing. We spent the last 6 years with Jon Snow in the North and getting to know their cause. Dany hasn't. Tyrion just arrived the other day, and there's no way he's going to convince her that these people in this place are different from the people in this place. No. To Dany, they're all rebels. The Starks and the Lannisters betrayed her family. As far as she's concerned, Jon is the son of a rebel who is rebelling yet again, and he better bend the knee or he'll get some roasting. But I highly doubt Jon is willing to even keep the North independent. He knows that unity is the best thing for the entire continent, and if there's a chance for peace, so they can all focus on the big threat, I'm thinking he'll take it. Next question is from Matthew, who says, "Do you think the Valonqar prophecy is ever going to be fulfilled? Because it's starting to seem more unlikely with Jaime still helping Cersei." This implies that the Valonqar is Jaime, and in all honesty, it can be many people. For those of you who are unaware, Maggie the Frog predicted that Cersei would die at the hands of the Valonqar, which is High Valyrian for little brother. Jaime is technically her little brother, so many people, including myself, have been betting on Jaime. See my Mad Queen theory video for more info on this. But Matthew, the main problem here is that the last part of that prophecy, the Valonqar stuff, is never said in the show. It may be a book-only thing, so we may not even have a Valonqar type deal in the show. If anything, we'll probably just get Arya killing Cersei, or maybe she'll poison herself. I doubt she'll ever let go of that Iron Throne. I'm starting to think that by the end of this, there won't be a throne. Maybe Cersei will just blow herself up with all her enemies who are closing in on her inside King's Landing. That's my prediction. Let me know what you think. And I will say this, I admire Jaime's loyalty here. It takes a special kind of guy to stick behind his woman, even if she is insane. Granted, some of you may say Jaime is a douche and he should drop her, but hey, when you fall, you sometimes fall hard and you just can't let go, and I get that. Plus, take it from me, loyalty is very hard to come by. I don't agree with Jaime's decision to stay with her, but I respect that he is sticking to what he believes in. At the end of the day, that's all we got. Next question is from Cindy, who says, "Can fan service be artfully done, or will we be getting more of this shit service?" Cindy, I hope to God we get some fan service done correctly, and we have gotten this before. I always use Jon going to Hardhome as an example, and even Arya and Tywin's few scenes in Season 2. Those were epic and were never in the book. Hell, I even enjoyed the random scenes thrown in there for a few laughs, like the whole Podrick being a sex guru is just great. But because we're getting so close to the end, I feel like the fan service will be turned up a bit more, but not in the way we'd like. In the trailer, I saw Missandei and Grey Worm getting it on, but I don't know one person who asked for that. But I'm sure there will be after this video, you liars! But fan service can be artfully done, but it's best not to overdo it. Robert and Cersei's scenes was something many people wanted for a long time, and it was done quietly. Jon vs. White Walkers is something people asked for, but it wasn't done to where he comes out on top as the savior. He lost more than he gained in that episode, so as long as they remember to stay grounded, I think we'll be fine. Also, just one extra thing, The reason Game of Thrones is because we get the opposite of fan service. Think about it. Ned Stark, awesome character, huh? Be ashamed if someone killed him. Oh, what's that? You like Robb and want to see him raise a child? Nope. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. You want Sansa to have a happy ending? Oh, stop it. So even though we want some good fan service, let's all admit that the show is usually at its best when it's giving us the opposite of that. So keep that in mind. And last question is from Devin on Facebook, who says, who do you think will sit on the Iron Throne after all of this? Like I said before, I don't think we'll actually have a winner to the throne. I've always thought that Dany will never sit on it. I may be wrong, but my thinking here is that maybe she'll head off and create a country of her own. I honestly can't see anybody taking the throne after all of this, and I hope it's not left to the audience interpretation as to who takes it. Like one of those dumb things where it shows the throne room and someone walking up the steps, but the camera cuts away before we see who. I hope it's not that, but George has done this before with his other stories, so it's possible. The general audience would love for Tyrion to be king. I would love for Littlefinger to be king, and I hope Gendry will be the one to sit there, but it'll likely be no one, and I'll tell you why. Whoever the showrunners decide to sit there, you'll hate it regardless. They could be the perfect person, but if it's not someone we spent 6 years with, meh, who cares? People will riot in the streets anyway. The other option could be democracy, but let's be honest, when you have a bunch of random old men in a room together, all they want to do is scheme on how to give the rich people a tax break and what women can and can't do with their bodies. Nothing ever gets solved. The best case scenario is that everyone goes through this crisis together and will join up in a big alliance afterwards and eventually go back to hating each other after 300 years or so. So that's the likely scenario, but we'll have to see. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. If you enjoy what I do and you're a big fan of the Game of Thrones podcast, then consider supporting us on Patreon for some exclusive podcast content and early access before it's anywhere else. But as always, leave your thoughts down below, and I'll see you next time. Baba Booey.